As agency owners or just entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time thinking about the tech we want to use in our business. And traditionally, you fall into one of two camps. You're either team open source and you want to own the whole stack, be able to modify the source code if you need to, or you are team software as a service and just pick whatever is trending on Twitter. It's good enough for everybody else, so it's good enough for me as well. And honestly, I think there's a lot of validity to both sides of that conversation. I'm not choosing a team right now. I want to actually introduce a third entrant into the competition, one that I have overlooked and maybe you have too, and perhaps you shouldn't. It is no-code builders. Now, in the past, I have written off no-code builders, and if you have as well, maybe you think of things like I do, where you hear no-code builder and in your mind, you just see this grid of bubbles and they're connected together by different lines, and you have to do some weird kind of mind mapping thing in order to build an app. That's how I've always thought of no-code builders, and they just seem more trouble than they're actually worth. Why don't I just hire a developer to build the thing? It's got to be more sustainable in the long run than relying on some no-code builder. Well, that is until I thought about this from a different point of view. Now, I started making websites a long time ago, like back when you did everything in Notepad on Windows. And then eventually Dreamweaver got popular and I used that. And then I saw the rise of CMSs, and now we have page builders. I think one of the first page builders I saw that really got mainstream appeal was like Squarespace, right? They were doing ads on the Super Bowl like a decade ago. And now page builders are commonplace. Even real developers are using page builders. So what if no code app building was a lot more like just using a page builder than it was some kind of convoluted mind mapping system? And that's why I was really excited when the folks over at Softr reached out to me and asked if I'd like to make a video about their tool. So let me show you what I discovered. So this is my Softr account, and I just signed up for a free trial. You can see I have 30 days left, and you can do that as well. They have a very generous long-term free plan, but if you really want to get a feel for all of the different features, go ahead and sign up for a free trial and find out if this is going to work out for you. Now, what I like about Softr is they don't start you from a blank slate. In fact, there are a ton of different templates. I'm going to click over here where it says View More, and you can see we can sort by some different filters here, but if I just scroll through this, there are literally, I don't know, dozens and dozens of different templates. And these templates are essentially apps, like software as a service style apps that you could pay by the month and by the user to use, I might add. When you think about that cost per user, Softr starts to look like a really, really good deal, but more on the pricing a little bit later on. So they have different categories here. Maybe I'll just point out maybe like some use cases from each category. So under portals, what caught my eye here under portals was maybe building like a client portal. Now I've used other client portal software in the past, and I currently use one. I made a video about a tool that's a client portal about a year and a half ago, and I think it's a really great tool, but there's always parts about things like that that you want to be able to customize and fit for your specific use case. And unless you build something from scratch, you're probably stuck just asking the developer to add features. So that's what's got me so interested in this no-code building opportunity here. So we've got client portals, partner portals, contractor portals. So this is just the portal category. Lots, you can build a help desk. I mean, lots and lots of different options here. If you're a property manager, there is a template for that. Now, if you want to dig into any of these templates, you can just go ahead and click on the preview icon right here. So this is the preview window for the client portal. And you can see this is basically what it's going to look like. Now, I want to point out this last option. It looks like a movie icon and it kind of threw me off. It even has some directions up here, but I didn't quite get it. So this is actually a preview of what the app would look like. So you can scroll through it and you can actually even click on stuff and use the app as it's intended to be used. So in this case, it's a client portal for an agency, and I can go ahead and log into the portal right here. This is what the login screen would look like. I can view the different services that they have available. There's a contact form. It's fully functional. Now, if I actually want to use this template, I would just click this button right here, and this would be my starting point. I'd get page builder-like tools, which I'll show you in a second, and I can modify this to be exactly with the feature set that I want. I can even charge access by connecting up something like Stripe, or there's just so much you can do. We'll get into it in a second. I could probably spend all day just going through the templates because they're super fun to look through. There's internal tools, things like an employee directory. I was just thinking about this recently. Like, I need to have a directory of our current clients so that my staff is able to very quickly see where everything is. Right now, it's not condensed into a nice place. So I think Softr is going to be a great solution for me for that. If you do analytics, maybe you do like paid traffic, you can set up a analytics dashboard. Here's some templates for like a SaaS dashboard. Maybe you want to track how many current subscribers you have. You can tie all of this in right to your database. So if you are a developer, but you don't want to spend the time customizing like actual analytics software, because that's not your main product, you can just tie it right into your database to be able to, or connect it up to Stripe to see exactly the amount of subscribers and revenue that you're generating. I'll talk more about the data sources in a second, but for normal people like me, the main ones that we're going to be dealing with are like Airtable or Google Sheets, software that I'm already comfortable using. All right, I will move it along here, but I just want to point out a few other templates. They genuinely get me pretty excited. So there is like this venture capital website that you could build right here. So if you're a venture capitalist and you don't want to spend the time and money to hire an agency and go through the whole process, you could just start with this template, swap it out with your information, and then you're off and running. I think this software in general is like an exciting business opportunity because there's definitely like WordPress agencies out there and there's Webflow agencies, but there could definitely be a Softr agency where, even though this is pretty easy for people to use, not everybody's going to want to actually go in and customize it. So you could start building websites right with Softr, and then you could add in upsells like, oh, would you like to have an analytics dashboard as well? And it could all be bundled into the same tool. I think that's really exciting. All right, just two more examples of the templates because I'm fascinated by them. There's a community forum template. So we can see here, you can log in, create a post, be able to share your profile. Everything is, basically a full featured community. You can even charge for it if you want to. And then there's online courses. You can see some of these previews here. You could charge for an online course. This is what the experience would look like if you were learning. The templates are all set up. One click, boom, you're ready to start customizing it with your course content. But today, what I'm going to be doing, I think, is something pretty utilitarian and something that a lot of agency owners really struggle to develop a good system, and that is a sales CRM. So I'm going to use their sales CRM template as the starting point, and then I'm going to customize that and make it, fit with what I want for my brand. And all of the data will be stored inside of Airtable. So that'll kind of be my database system, which is great because I know how to use Airtable. It's not intimidating to me like some of the other database tools out there. So let's open up the template here. I can preview it, but you know what? I've already looked at it. I think it looks really cool. We'll take a look at it together here. I'm going to click on Use Template, and then I'll just choose my data source. Now, I've already connected up my Airtable, so it shows up right here, but I could certainly add a different data source if I'd like to. Now, for this particular template, it only works with Airtable or Google Sheets. However, some of the templates coming out are now working with HubSpot as well as SmartSuite. This one doesn't work with it yet. Maybe they'll add support for that in the future. So I'm going to connect up Airtable. We'll go ahead and hit continue. Now I just have to add the base that I want to connect it to. So I'm going to go ahead and just say all bases are fine. I will grant access. And then it's going to just have me copy the template database over to my Airtable account. So I just have a free Airtable account. I'm using the free trial of Softr. This is all costing me absolutely nothing at this point. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this to my free Airtable account. All right, there it is. This is still Airtable. This is not what it's going to look like inside of the app, but we can just kind of stroll through the data here. So we've got a list of our employees. Those could be our salespeople, or in this case, their account executives is their title. And then I can see all of the deals that they have. And this is just like a regular spreadsheet, right? I can read it, but it's kind of tedious to go through. And obviously I could create views inside of Airtable to do this, but even then it's not going to be like using an app, right? It's just going to be like a glorified, pretty version of a spreadsheet. Okay, so the other tabs at the top here are the contacts. These would be our clients, the interactions that we've had. So these would be like phone calls or emails, and then overall the accounts. So those would be the companies that we work with. So over in Softr, it's already got the app ready for me to go. I didn't do anything. It just populated with this screen while I was looking at Airtable. So I'm going to click right here to go to the application. So it pops everything open inside of a page builder, much like Elementor. Now I could go ahead and customize this screen right here, but I just want to kind of give you the lay of the land first. So this is considered to be like the home screen, but there's other pages inside of an app, right? If you think about using like an app on your phone or any app on your computer, there's going to be multiple screens that you go through, and they're called pages inside of Softr. So I'll click on pages over here, and these very similarly correlate to what we saw in Airtable. So we've got the home screen, then there's the accounts page. If you remember, that was the list of businesses that we work with. There's some filtering over here. Just a nice title at the top, all completely customizable. We'll look at that as we kind of get through the pages. There's an accounts details page, a deals page. Let's go ahead and look at this. This is going to be more of that kind of like sales pipeline type of look. You can see it is even basically a Kanban board, where if I open this up in, why don't we do this right now? Let's see what the app will actually look like. So we're leaving the builder view here. I think this is big. Softr has a builder view and then an app using view. There's other applications out there that try to do it all kind of in one screen. I'm not naming any names, but maybe you can think of a notion of what I'm talking about. So they often have everything kind of in one screen, which means that people who are not technical can break the whole show, right? So I love that Softr has this clear building mode versus clear using mode. It's an obvious feature, but I love that they did this. Okay, so I'm going to open this up inside of the preview. Now, by the way, you can connect this up to your own custom domain. So that's included even in the free plan. You get a single custom domain. You can add extra custom domains if you are on a paid plan. So here it is. This is what it would look like as a user. This is a preview mode, so it's not actually using it. It's just allowing me to test it out for you. So I can view it as a non-logged in user. Let's go ahead and close this little tour here. I can use it as a non-logged in user, or I can choose one of the users. Those would be like our employees, what they would see if they log in. And they have different roles, so they can have different permissions on different screens. Brilliant. It's a real app. It's like a functional real app. I'm so impressed. All right, so I'm going to log in as an account executive right here. So I'll choose that, and just giving me the warning that I'm logging in as a preview as a user. I said, okay, I understand. And here we are. Now I'm in that deals screen. Now this is just a Kanban board, right? So I can drag the deals across as they progress. I can click on them to modify their status. So if this priority changed from being medium to high priority, it's very easy for me to update it. I'll just click right over here where it says update. And I have all of the details of this card. So I'm going to change it from medium priority to how about very high, and hit update. And there it refreshes and shows me that it's very high. Now let's explore a little bit more of the app here. So this is the deals page. We just saw that. We've got the accounts page. I previewed that inside the builder, but here's what it looks like as a user. And you can even preview what it would look like in a phone, right? So like you can actually use this on your phone. Of course, it's not necessarily going to be in the App Store, but you can save it to your home screen and access it that way. And maybe they have a way to get it in the App Store. I haven't even checked yet. Okay, so no App Store, but you can definitely make progressive web apps so that you could save them right to your home screen. And it also works as a desktop app. So, you can save, Safari introduced this, Chrome's had it forever, where you can simply just save it as a desktop app, and then it'll live in your dock or, your menu bar on Windows or whatever they call it there. And you'll be able to access the app without having to actually open a browser, which is what I prefer especially for tools like this. Okay, so back to our quick tour through this application. Here is the contact screen, which is going to be a list of all of our contacts. They're delivered to me in these beautiful cards where I can, very clearly put a face to a name. I think that's really important. So if I wanted to contact Helen here, I could click on Helen's name. It's going to pop open her details. I can, call her right from this screen. I could open up her LinkedIn page. This is all customizable as well. So if there was fields that you wanted to add that are specific to your industry, it'd be very easy to do that. In fact, why don't we do that next? Let's figure out exactly how we can customize the card for each individual contact. So back over in the builder, which they call Softr Studio, I'm going to click on the pages icon up here, and I'm going to go down to the contact profile. I'm going to open this up, and it's going to preview it. Here's a contact for Scott, and I can see all of the different fields that are available to me. And then down below, I've got basically all of the interactions that we've had with Scott. So it's related interactions. Now to customize this, I simply click on the area that I want to customize, and it pulls open the block. I haven't even showed you how the block builder works yet, but you can get an idea that it's going to work a lot like a page builder, where you simply have a few options to choose from and you can drag blocks over. We'll definitely look at that in a minute. Now, this card in particular is an example of a dynamic block, which means that it's pulling in data dynamically from Airtable. Some blocks are not. They're just going to be like titles or images, right? But this one comes in from Airtable. So I can see the source right here. Now, I have it connected up to that Airtable account that you saw earlier, but you could certainly add another data source. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to combine data from multiple places, you can do that with Softr, which is really cool. But what we wanted to do was maybe add a custom field here because, we don't really use LinkedIn in my business, but maybe, I don't know, how about having like their website here? That would be very important to me. So I'm going to go under content and then I'll go down to LinkedIn right here. And I could simply just edit this to have a different name, right? I could say, this is going to be website. And then I'd want to link this over to a new field inside of Airtable, which I would have to then add, right? So over in Airtable, I'll just click on my contacts and then I'd find the LinkedIn field and I could either just rename this if I didn't want to use LinkedIn, or I could add another column. So in this case, I'll just do insert right and I'll call this website. And this is going to be a link, a URL, and we'll create the field. So now I've got this website field in here and it's going to show up right away inside of Softr. All right, so I just got a little notice and Softr popped up a window just to refresh. I clicked that button and then I came back to the same field here and here is the website option and I've swapped it out. You can see now that it's blank. So let's actually find Scott and I'll put something in there inside of Airtable. All right, so I just added a website for Scott. We'll go back over to Softr and let me just look at it inside of the preview mode again. Now you might be thinking, well, if I have to go into Airtable to edit the data, why don't I just stay in Airtable? What's the point of having something like Softr? No, that is not the point. When it's all said and done here, you're going to have a fully fledged app with user logins and authentication. You'll be able to use Softr to directly add new data or update existing data inside of your Airtable without needing to access Airtable directly at all. You'll simply use an action button inside of Softr. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm just editing the database directly so you can understand how everything is linked together. Okay, so back to the demo. What I was going to show you was that our information for our contact should have automatically updated. So I'm going to go over to contacts here. There's Scott, and I can see if I click on this, opens up his profile page, and here is his website, links right up to Google. So perfect. Okay, so how does the actual builder part of this all work? Because obviously this is a big application and there's a lot to go through. I could probably make an entire training series just about Softr. And if you want to see more Softr content, let me know down in the description. But for now, let's just get a feel for how the builder actually works. So I could either click anywhere you see a plus button on the actual page, or I could just click over here to add a block. Now, we've got a list of the available blocks. Like I mentioned before, there are two types of blocks. There are dynamic blocks, which are going to pull in data from an outside source, so something like Airtable in this case, or there are static blocks, which are just going to be kind of your normal type of page builder blocks, I guess you could say. I hesitate to call this, it's definitely not a page builder, but let's say I wanted to add, I don't know, a hero section to this template right here. I could go ahead and just choose hero. It's going to have some different presets that I can use, and I can customize these, of course. But let's say I wanted to use this one right here. All right, I clicked the plus button and it inserted it at the bottom of the page. If I wanted it to come at a certain spot, of course, I would click in that spot to add the block. Now, to move this up, I can just click the move up button, and with a couple clicks here, I'm now up to the top of the page. And over on the right, you can do all the stuff that you might expect. We can change this copy right here. We could get rid of the button. I don't really need a button on a header for a contact profile page. We can get rid of this image or update it with our own. Now remember, this is a static image because it was part of the static blocks. If I wanted a dynamic image, like this is where I want to put Scott's photo, well, then I'd have to have used a dynamic block. So I've got my assets available to me right here. Of course, I can upload new assets. I can also go right into their stock photo library, which comes from Pexels, by the way. I'm going to search for the word contacts and see if Pexels has anything good. All right, we'll just use this kind of cheesy image of a man with a card. Definitely don't recommend keeping it like that. Now, one thing that's really cool, especially if you plan to use this for public-facing apps or even websites, is that they have good accessibility as well as SEO practices built right in. So inside of my image, there's the ability to add some alt text, which is really important for accessibility as well as SEO. And if we head over to the settings, which we've not really talked about settings yet, there's a lot of SEO options here as well. So I could go up to the general options here and I can set up my subdomain, set up a favicon. Under the SEO tab, I could connect up Google's site verification. I could have it show the site headings so that it's easily readable by screen readers as well as Google. There's a built-in robots.txt, and I can even redirect URLs if I need to. So it's cool to me, at least, that they're thinking about things like SEO and accessibility. All right, so back to the builder here. I want to show you how things are styled because there's also a styles tab up here. And the styling is not like full on CSS control, but we can do some really simple things like, so we're looking at this block right here that I just inserted, right? I can change the amount of padding. Let's say I bring this down to 4 extra small. It'll just make the padding very, very small. And that's the top padding, of course. And I can make it match on the bottom. And now this section takes up a lot less space. I could also add in a background color. Let's say I wanted this to be like light gray. I could do that. I'll go ahead and choose one of the options here. Maybe a little bit dark. We'll lighten it up with the color picker. There, that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna make it have a little bit more padding and I'm happy with it. Of course, you probably have your own logo and fonts that you want to use inside of your app, and setting that up inside of Softr is super easy as well. Just go over to theme right here and you can set up the fonts that you want to use for headings as well as the body text. You can even add your own colors in right here. And there's some kind of general presets for the sizing. Like this is set to be medium size, but if I wanted to have maybe smaller text overall, I could set it to be small size. Then everything's going to get more condensed. Or if I want to go the opposite way, I could do that. Here is large. Not huge changes over in the preview, but they are subtle. We can make the app more round if we wanted to. Now, if you're wondering about how to change your logo, well, that's just part of something called a header card. So I can click right up here on the header card, and then I can add in my own logo right here. All right, so I've uploaded my logo. I'm gonna use this one right here, and there we go. I think it looks a lot better. If I don't like that background color, of course, I can swap that out as well. All right, so you can see that this is literally as simple as using something like Squarespace, drag and drop, and you are good to go with building your very own application. So earlier in the video, when I was showing the preview mode for the first time, we saw that we can preview as our users here. And I mentioned that these are connected up to who the employees are in the company. Well, let me show you how that connection is made inside of Softr. So I'll go back into Softr Studio and there's a user tab right over here. And I can see that the users are connected to the employees section inside of Airtable. So once again, here's Airtable. I've got an employees tab right at the top here. These are my employees. If I wanted to add a new employee, this might be something you do manually inside of Airtable, but you could also just connect up a form that feeds right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and add myself in here. I'll be an account executive, why not? I'm not gonna add any deals, but you can see that I can go through and just kind of fill this out. Now over in Softr Studio, I'll just reload this page and you can see it's syncing the users. And there we go, it says sync complete. And so let's go ahead and just refresh the page. And there we go, my user showed up right at the top of the list. So that's how you'd add a new user if you're doing something like this where you're pulling in from employees. But of course you can have a registration screen. We should look at some of these options before I wrap up this video. It's getting to be a little bit long, but I'm so excited about these options. All right, so let's say I'd like to have the option to add a sign-up screen where people are actually submitting a payment. Now, you probably wouldn't do this for a sales CRM, but you might want to do that for a lot of other apps. So I want to show the feature off. I'm going to click over here where it says add block. We want to be on dynamic blocks. And then I've got 2 options. Well, 3 really. We could have a sign-up form, right? We could have a new user account. So let's add in a user sign-up form here and boom, we're basically ready to go. That easy, just add it in and we can connect up where the data is gonna go to. And we've now got the ability to have signups. I just removed that one. Let me show you how easy it is to take payments as well, because there's a payment link here. And if I wanted to accept, let's say like a Stripe plan, I could do a simple checkout form right here. And then boom, I've got a checkout form and I could set this up so that after someone checks out, they are added to a particular user group. Just the world is your oyster. Configuring this with Stripe is very, very easy. You just go over to Settings, Integrations, and then scroll down to Stripe Checkout right here. You'll just paste in your keys right here and your Stripe account will be connected up to your app. Just looking through the list of integrations, there are a ton of very common ones here. Definitely something's gonna catch your eye and be like, oh, I already use that tool. It'd be great if I could use this in my new custom app. You wanna build an AI app? Well, here you go, OpenAI. Just connect up your API key, build it inside of Softr, and you're off and running. All right, when you get everything just so and you want to go ahead and publish your app, you're going to click over here, go over your custom domain and get your domain set up. You'll simply just type in your domain. It'll give you some records that you'll add to your DNS, just like you do for any type of white labeling or CNAME type of scenario. And then you can click over here to publish the app. Now I'm going to hit publish. I've got my current URL, which is a softr.app URL. I'm going to copy that, hit publish. I get a little celebration and I can now visit this website. I'll click on the open link and I see the actual app live. Now, because I'm on the free account, I do have some gentle branding down here, but for absolutely $0, I can live with that for now. Speaking of pricing, let's conclude this video by looking at the different pricing options for Softr. So we're looking at the annual plans from Softr right here. So obviously you get a little bit of a break if you sign up annually, but they do have a very generous free plan where you can have unlimited app visitors and you can have 5 of your own internal users. And if you want to work with clients, they can sign up to 100 clients can use this. So really this will work for a lot of small agencies. Scrolling through the features, you're going to get almost everything with the free plan. The things that kind of stop, like you don't get the email with the code for your sign-in options or SMS sign-ins. Then we can scroll down. There's a few of the different blocks that are not available to you. Like, unfortunately, you can't use the calendars or the Kanban inside of the free or the basic plan. You have to jump up to the pro plan for that. Which means if you wanted to build a full-on sales CRM inside of Softr, you're probably going to be looking at $139 a month, which might on the surface seem kind of expensive until you think about how much a real CRM costs. It's often $40, $50 per user per month. And with the Pro plan, we get 50 internal users. So if you have a company of 5, 10, 15, 25 people, you could be saving a ton of money by using a tool like Softr. And the best thing is you'll make the app exactly what it needs to be for your business. You don't have to work around a bunch of extra features, or in my opinion, one of the things that a lot of CRMs like to do is have add-ons, and there's all these messages everywhere to get you to sign up for other paid stuff. You don't have any of that if you build your own CRM. All right, that is Softr. My name is Dave Swift. If you got questions about no code, leave them down below. I'd love to engage with you, learn more myself, because this is definitely an area I want to dig more into. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked the video, make sure you click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you in the next one.